Today on the Videomaker podcast, Haley and I talked to Justin Brown of Primal Video. We really talk about what it takes to succeed on YouTube from a strategic standpoint. Whether you're a business or an independent creator, whether you're just getting started or you've been at it for a while, hopefully you'll find a good takeaway from this episode. As always, if you've been listening to the podcast and you enjoy it, we would love it if you went to iTunes or Spotify and hit the subscribe button. It will deliver the podcast straight to your mobile device every week, which is nice and convenient and is helpful for podcasts like ours. So with that out of the way, let's get on with it. Welcome to the Videomaker podcast. With me, as always, to my left today is Haley LeBlanc.
Hello.
To my right is an empty chair. No Chris today. But we do have a special guest, Justin Brown. Justin, how's it going?
Very well. Thanks for having me on.
All right. So, Justin, your YouTube channel, Primal Video, is probably how most of our viewers who know you, they know you from that. But maybe before we, talk about the YouTube channel specifically or your work with, helping people to create marketing videos, maybe you can just give us some background on how you became interested in video and how you started your career in video.
Yeah, so I was interested in video from a very young age. My dad always had cameras around for photography and those sorts of things. It was back when the video cameras were huge. Like you're literally lugging around backpacks or suitcases worth of gear to record home movies. So in every home movie that I'm watching, it's like, Dad, can I have a look? Can I have a turn? Can I have a turn? So it must have been very annoying for him, but clearly the interest started very early on. So from there, I've always really had a camera somewhere close by and started out filming just hobby projects. And I would always be down at the beach and those sorts of things. And then got into filming surfing. And I've been very lucky to have some pretty amazing opportunities and doors just randomly open throughout my career. And I've had opportunities to work with some really inspirational, some really high level and some really crazy athletes and those sorts of people as well. Now I'd say that my day job is a lot safer than it used to be, as I'm not doing the extreme action sports stuff too much these days. But now we teach. I work with my brother Mike. Our company is Primal Video, and we help people grow an audience and scale their revenue with online video. So we share the tips, the tools, the things that you need to know to get that 80-20 result. Like what can you do with the gear that you've already got to see a return or a success with implementing video and a video strategy in your business.
Okay, so you said something here which I just want to follow just a little bit, which is that you started making videos and movies when you were a kid. That's how a lot of us start out. And I don't know how old you are. You look like you're probably about close to my age. Do you remember what kind of camera you were using back then?
That's a good save. You didn't throw a number out there. I'm 36.
Okay, so, well, you're younger than me.
Yeah. So, I would say I had a camera on me and my family, brothers and sisters, we've got early videos from when we were born and those kinds of things. So there's always really been a camera around. And I've always been interested in the tech. Like I have an IT degree, I have an IT background as well. So I always like the tech side of video as well. And that's the stuff that I'm interested in. And that's where we the more we go into this, it gives us the opportunity to speak about and have the conversations about the stuff that I'm genuinely interested in, and the stuff that, if someone would stop me in the street and ask a question, what are those questions I would just be pumped to answer anytime, and have those conversations and help people with. And that's kind of what really stemmed it from there, is the outcome. How do you get people unstuck with the stuff that you're interested in, that you'd be happy talking about at any time? That's a great place to start for a channel idea or even a business, really.
Yeah, so you started when you were a kid. You kind of got into a professional career doing kind of extreme sports. I guess I saw on your YouTube channel that you were like jumping out of airplanes with video gear. And what was that like? It's got to be quite a bit different than what you were recommending to your viewers on your YouTube channel, right?
Yeah, it's a little crazy looking back at it now. It almost feels like a previous life because so I started out doing videos for Surf Lifesaving Australia. So that's kind of like your lifeguards, the beach patrol people. And I was racing and competing for them. And then ended up working with a local big wave surfer. So I was always around the water. Like any of my spare time, I was at the beach. I was testing cameras and those sorts of things. So it was an amazing opportunity to go and follow him around the world. And this guy, Mark Visser, he was the first guy to surf Jaws in Maui at at 2 a.m. So I got to work with him on that project. Another project, we were working with Navy SEALs, and we're working with some really high up people with satellite data and everything to find these unsurfed spots. 100-foot wave is like the pinnacle of big wave surfing. So we had a project where I was working with them on that. And obviously, when some of these places were in the middle of the ocean, we had to skydive into them, because by the time you got the call that there's going to be a big wave in this spot in the middle of the ocean, the only way to get there in time to meet that swell would be to fly in. We had to throw jet skis out of planes and all of that sort of stuff. So yeah, I had to learn to skydive, and couple of near-death experiences and all that fun stuff that kind of comes along the way. So this is where I say, like, my day-to-day right now, I'm enjoying that there's not, having to deal with parachutes not opening or filming in the middle of big storms just to get the shot. So, I mean, I loved that opportunity, but I like where this is going now.
So when you skydives out to get to those waves, were you carrying the video equipment, or you chuck them out the airplane and they have their own parachute, or how does that work?
So the jet skis go out on their own, and then then we would all jump out, and you're carrying all of your gear and everything. So the training drills and everything alone for that were pretty full on. Obviously, lots of skydiving, but skydiving with gear, and obviously training for, like, these guys. While they seem like crazy guys, and while I throw that around like he's a crazy guy, he's really, really well calculated, and you train for the worst case scenario. So there's training drills where I'm in a parachute underwater in a deep swimming pool, and they're spinning me around, simulating absolute worst case. We land in the water, parachute gets dragged under by the currents, and I'm tangled and being pulled under, and I've got to try and get out. So, I mean, there's lots of stuff like that. It was very interesting day-to-day stuff back then. So a lot of training, a lot of breath hold training and those sorts of things as well. But it was all, looking back at it, it's all really mindset stuff, like having the ability to switch off and be calm in any moment without, fear really creeping in. And that's the kind of stuff that we like to then bring through into the day-to-day stuff with our training as well. There's a lot of fears and things that come up for people on the video side of things, especially if you've never done this before. And I like to share this story and this journey, because to me, I'm a behind the camera person. I was a director, producer, cameraman, editor, but I was never on camera. So for me, actually being on camera, besides as a little kid, this was so foreign to me. And it was like I'd almost forgotten everything that I'd been teaching other people to do, when I actually had to sit there and like, oh crap, that camera's on now. I've got to talk, and what am I going to say? And, the old Ron Burgundy, what do I do with my hands? So it's an interesting experience. And that's why, like, the early videos on our channel, we had no idea what we were doing from a YouTube strategy point of view, but it's where most people start. You just create a video, you go through the motions, you upload it and hope people find it. But that's not how the platform works. So for us, like, we were 6 months in, we had 50 subscribers, and we had no strategy. We're kind of like, I'm a video guy, and I can't make videos that people want to watch on here. So it took us a long time to kind of shift to work out what YouTube needs as a platform to then be able to replicate and build a system around it. And that's now the stuff that we teach on our channel and inside of our programs and things.
So when did you sort of make that shift? What was it that inspired you to go from, making these extreme sports videos to doing marketing videos on YouTube? What was the catalyst there?
So there was a documentary I worked on called The Abundance Project, and it was really interviewing some really top level digital marketing people and mindset people, which to me at the time, I kind of dismissed it all, like email marketing, email's dead. Don't send me an email. It's my to-do list. But the more that we kind of got into that project where we're interviewing these people who are totally crushing it online, they were the nicest people. They had so much time to share and to just help people with their specific skill set. So it was more that these people had built a business around helping people with the stuff that they were interested in and doing really well from it. But the impact that they were having, the amount of people they were having, was just crazy. So it was just like going through the motions. I got so much out of that documentary, like sitting in the 3-hour interviews and interviewing people and working with everything. And like that really was the pinnacle for it. It's like, well, with me doing work for people, doing videos for people, that's only going to help really those people or anyone watching really. But, specifically I'm creating those videos just for those people, for the client. But the videos that people want to watch and the videos that really engage people these days are the ones that are more real, more raw, more authentic. And it could be that they're just shot on their phones. So what we're seeing on the business side of things was that outside of people spending money for me to create videos for them, they weren't creating their own videos. So the moment that my calendar was full or they ran out of money, ran out of budget, they'd stop with their video strategy. And that's not an effective video strategy. It's really keeping that conversation going. And it didn't need to be the really high level polished pieces of content that people were putting out. So that's where it's like, all right, look, I will teach you how to do this. I will show you how you can just use your phone, but I want to see you creating videos and getting your message out there, having those learning cycles and improving on each and every video. Know that your first videos might be your worst videos, but know that the next one's not going to be as bad as that one. And it really, like, it kind of is that growth from there. So it was really that pivot of, I'm only going to be able to help so many people with their video creation if it's just me trading my time just doing that. Whereas there's so many other people out there that should be creating videos and getting their message out there and helping their people with the stuff that they're interested in. And how can we, empower those people? How can we help them with where they're stuck? And that's where you look at that and go, all right, well, where are most people stuck? I know I need to make videos. What do I say? I'm scared of being on camera. I don't know what gear to use. Can I use my phone? How do I use my phone? Editing, right? What's this thing? How do I do this? And can I do it using free gear, paid gear? Like, do I need to use Adobe Premiere? So the topics never really run out for us at that point. And that's where it's really like, it's so obvious looking back. And this is what I like to share is like, for anyone that's with a video strategy, the questions that people ask you all the time are the great places to start for your content. Your frequently asked questions, no matter what your business is, there's people that are asking you stuff that you have the answer to, and now you're just able to share it on a larger platform.
Yeah, it sounds like you kind of went through the same path that a lot of us here at Videomaker have gone through, where we were producers and directors before working at Videomaker, and for the most part, a lot of us were self-taught, or at least we kind of like learned on the job. And then we work at Videomaker, and sort of we catch up on some sort of by-the-book techniques, or we're discovering things as we're trying to develop learning resources. And as a result, we're like, oh man, I wish I had just known that, when I was just starting. This is like actually a pretty simple concept, and it would have taken 10 minutes to learn. If I'd only known it, it would save me it would put me a year ahead of where I ended up being at, production value wise. And so it's interesting to hear that your story of you started the YouTube channel and you had 50 subscribers and you're struggling with like, how do we make the types of videos that people want to watch? And through that learning process, you're developing, or at least it sounds like you're developing techniques and strategies to teach to people so that if they're trying to do kind of what you did, they've got this head start to sort of leap forward, right? Sort of skip some of the self-learning that you had to go through.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's the kind of thing. And that's the beauty of it, is that we've all gone through things in our own area that other people would kill for that advice, but they might, that's the kind of stuff that's going to change the game for them. How can you help someone jump that learning curve and get to where they want to be faster based off, without having to learn all the lessons and stuff the hard way, like we've had to. And that's the beauty of the online space, is that you have that power. There is no one else out there with the same knowledge, experiences, personality, thoughts, opinions as you. So, why not share it? If you think other people are already out there creating the content, they don't have that same stuff as you. So you always got something to bring to the table.
Yeah, and I think that in a lot of cases, it seems like, people, and this is anyone, you don't know what you don't know, right? And so it's good to have a resource like your channel where, you can subscribe, you can watch it for a while, and you'll be presented with new ideas and new concepts that help you improve without you having to realize that you need that help and to seek it out. Like, for example, you might not know the problem with your marketing strategy is your thumbnails are not properly optimized. So you're not going to seek that out, right? But once it appears in front of you, once you're kind of on this train of learning, and you can it can be presented to you in kind of a way that's like guided learning, where it's like, this is the kind of stuff you need to know, then I think you're going to sort of leap ahead. People kind of, I think, can tend to fall into this trap of only learning things when they actually think that they need to learn it, and they hop online to look for it, they learn it, and then they stop. But the beauty of YouTube, it seems like, is you can kind of subscribe to these channels, or at least get on this viewing train where the algorithm is sort of feeding you stuff. And then you're presented with all kinds of brand new ideas that you hadn't considered before that are helping you learn.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the beauty of YouTube, is even when you look at the whole subscriber number thing these days, I know for me personally, and for a lot of people I've spoken to, there's a lot of content that I watch and that I consume on there, and I'm not subscribed to the channel. These days, you don't need to subscribe. The power in a subscriber number these days isn't what it used to be, because YouTube's algorithm is getting that good. If you watch someone's video and you watch it, a decent percentage of it, whether you subscribe or not, next time you're on there, or next time you're looking for something where their content is related to what you're looking for, then that content will show up again, because you've shown YouTube that you were interested in it, or that you stuck around and watched that video. So that's where what you say in your videos, and coming from that place of how do I keep people engaged to the end? How do I give people everything that they need to be fulfilled with this content, to go and take action with this, without sort of dangling a carrot saying, well, fix that in the next episode, or go and watch this other video over here. Give them everything that they need. Come from that place of delivering value. And that's where it's a better experience for the viewer, which makes it easier for YouTube to keep your content being recommended to people as well, which then gives you the outcome that you want, which is the audience growth, or the impact, or right through to revenue. So yeah, it's pretty simple when you sort of lay it out like that. Come from the place of adding value, and what do my viewers need if they've clicked on this video titled this specific thing? How do I give them everything that they need to go and take action with this?
So speaking of your typical viewer or subscriber, like, how would you describe your audience? Do you think it's people who are more focused on the business aspect and using videos to help promote their business, or people who are maybe looking for tools to help their own YouTube channels, or both?
It's a good question, because this is the beauty of YouTube, is while we have our ideal customers, ideal target audience that we would like to target through and interact with and attract, really, YouTube is kind of the top of the digital marketing terms, top of the funnel. That's where people can find you when they're searching for something, or that you're a suggested video based on what it is that their interest trends and what they've watched previously. But the beauty is that with YouTube, you can have your own target audience that you'd like to attract, but you're also able to attract so many more. So we have young kids that watch our videos. We have people that are 85, 90 years old that are watching our content, that are just bored and looking for something to do on the side, want to start their own channel, go through the motions of creating video, or edit down some videos that they've had for years. So that's the beauty of it. You're able to attract your ideal clients, customers, whatever it is, but also impact more. So in your videos, you can speak directly to the people who you want to. So in our videos, I say where we help you grow an audience and scale your revenue with online video. Now, you might not be interested in growing an audience or scaling your revenue. You might just want to learn how to edit a video. That's not going to turn you off the content. But if you are interested in those things, then it's an extra little piece in there. It's like, okay, cool, I'm in the right place. Or maybe I will subscribe, or maybe I will, give this video more time because I'm resonating with it and the delivery and everything that's been said in here. So yes, it's a good idea to attract your ideal ones, and you should know who your ideal clients are if you've got that flowing into your business. But don't be trying to make your content for everyone, but inherently it would probably help a lot more people than what you think that it will.
It seems like the audience a lot of times is kind of self-selecting in that regard, right? Like kind of how you were talking about the subscriber page on YouTube is like almost not a thing anymore. Like they really have deprioritized it. People are discovering videos by just looking at the home screen or looking at the, whatever pops up in front of them on their phone. And so this idea that you're sort of building this audience as your subscriber base and really catering to them is kind of a thing of the past, right? People find it what they find, and a lot of times it's not intentional. It's like if someone is trying to learn all about, shooting video on their smartphone, and they're like, the 17-year-old kid or whatever, then they're probably going to get a few videos recommended from your channel that is, largely marketing based. And it's just because that's just where their interest lies, I guess, right?
Yes, and that's the beauty of it as well, is that people may not necessarily be finding your videos on YouTube. So a big traffic source for us, because we have a very search engine optimized focus for our content. Like, you got to think of it, YouTube is a search engine first and foremost, but you might think, I don't go to YouTube to search for stuff. But Google is now having a massive focus with bringing in YouTube videos and YouTube content. So when people do search for best editing software or how to film on an iPhone, can I film on an iPhone? That's stuff that they might not even be looking for a video, but they search for that stuff on Google, maybe expecting to find a blog or an article. And YouTube is now placing, if Google is now placing YouTube videos above a lot of even the paid ads on Google. So there's a big low-hanging fruit. There's a big opportunity for people there to get their content shown to their ideal people who are looking or searching for their content on Google. That's going to bring them over to YouTube. And again, once they're on that video, if they stick around, then they're going to be served up more of it, whether they subscribe or not.
Yeah, you know what? That we've experienced the same thing with our YouTube channel, where we started our YouTube channel like way back in, boy, I want to say it was like 2005 or something. It's never been a big priority for us. But we've sort of, trickled things out a little bit over time. And the strategies that YouTube and creators have employed over the years have changed quite a bit. And even today, you see every YouTube channel go, don't forget to click the subscribe button. And it's interesting to think about that today, because the subscribe button, as we kind of have talked about here, is well, you haven't said this, but I'll say it. The subscribe count is almost like a vanity thing now. Like, hit the subscribe button so that I can get that number higher. When in reality, lots of views, like you say, come from the home screen, YouTube search, Google search. Actually, we've had quite a bit of views come from external, like embeds on people's websites. Views come from all over the place now. And with Videomaker, we have seen as a percentage of our views, the views coming from the subscribe page just go from the vast majority to the vast minority. We're getting a lot from search, people searching for things that they need to know. We call that search meat, the things that people really, really want and crave. They punch it into the search and then we get views that way. Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, I totally agree. And that's where, up until recently, I think we've still got a few videos in our batch, because we sort of shoot them ahead of time, where I'm still saying, remember to click that subscribe button. But we've shifted now to saying, click the like button. Or if you're seeing value in this, click the like button. So I want you to tell the algorithm that you're liking this, which is less of a commitment for the viewer, because they don't have to go, oh, now I'm going to be notified every time Justin posts a video. But it's an indicator through to YouTube. It's an indicator back to us as well, but it's also an indicator back to YouTube that, hey, I actually like this kind of content. So that's where I would agree with you. Asking for that subscribe, it is a vanity metric, and that's where, whether people subscribe or not, they'll still be served the content if it is a fit for them, if they did stick around in your videos. And if they watch multiple videos of yours, then yes, they're going to keep being fed more and more content. So it is pretty interesting. And yes, it does shape and evolve over time. But what we've found is probably the most important thing is what you're actually saying inside of your video, and how do you help YouTube place your content in front of those right people. So what are those indicators that you can tell YouTube what your content is about? And they've started transcribing your content. They've been doing it for quite a while now, but they're looking for some of those key phrases and key words that people are actually searching for on there. So before we create any video, we'll go and do the keyword research. First off, to validate that this topic is something that people actually want. It's not a video that I think, hey, this is a great idea for a video, because a great idea for a video that no one is looking for might mean that no one actually wants it, or that no one can actually find it on the platform. All well and good if they find it, but if they can't find it because YouTube doesn't know how to place it, then what was the point in making it? So we will go and do the keyword research first. And so if we go best video editing software, right? Very generic. I would say those words if I knew that that's what people were searching for, which we find that they are doing the keyword research. I would say that in the first sentence of every video. Are you looking for the best video editing software on Mac in 2020? In this video, we're going to break down the top options. Like, you go from there. So I'm saying those exact same words. And it's so obvious when you hear it. But once we started doing that, we're telling our viewers that they're in the right place. So they feel comfortable in the video. Because someone clicks your video, they've got that almost like a little bit of anxiety. Should I have clicked that one? The other one had a really good thumbnail. The other one was 5 minutes. This one's 7 minutes. So you need to make them relax as soon as you can. So by using those keywords, hey, well, you just said what I've typed in. They may not even make that connection, but subconsciously they are. They're relaxing into your content. immediately. But it also helps the algorithm say, okay, what they've typed in matches what's in the title of the video, matches the description, some of the tags as well. And hey, it's actually inside the video. So I'm going to bump this up to the top or to near the top to at least test it, to then see if it's getting the clicks and then seeing if people watch it all the way through. So that's the kind of strategy that we take in. We do the research up front, but we make sure that we're helping YouTube and helping the viewers work out if that video is for them as soon as you can. There's no point in getting halfway through and leaving. That's not good for the viewer. It's not good for YouTube. If they're not in the right place, then you want them out as soon as you can. So yeah, it's pretty interesting when you look at it that way and how far it's evolved to what they're looking at to put the right video in front of the right person. Can you imagine if you search for something on Google and YouTube and the wrong stuff showed up? That's where this strategy is only going to keep working for you, because that's their goal. Place the right video or something that the user might be interested in front of those people when they're looking for it. So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, so I just one quick follow-up question. I know Haley's prepared a bunch of great questions for us, so I'm really taking us off track. So I'll ask this question, then Haley can bring us back on track. Actually, we should squeeze in a break, but I'll just throw this one question in here real quick. So you kind of mentioned view duration, or at least like view completion rate. How much have you determined the actual view duration or completion rate affects your ability to either rank or show up in the recommended algorithm?
So the recommended algorithm is definitely different, and it's not really, for the bulk of the videos we create, is our focus. Our ideal end goal is to attract new people through, ideally when they're searching for something. That's our goal. So I want to be the one that shows up to solve their pain or their problem. But inherently, in going through a SEO-based strategy of having those keywords in the title, the description, tags and everything like that, and obviously inside the content, you're also helping YouTube place it as a suggested video. So if you just wanted to get in suggested, you're actually better off still looking at the SEO side of things to be able to piggyback off the back of someone else's video. So for us, primarily, our content is search-based. Yes, we have some that obviously we get traffic through suggested, paid off other people's videos that are related, or some of our own even. But our strategy is, how do we get the views from brand new people or the people that are actually searching for stuff? So what's really interesting, again, going back to the subscriber number, and I apologize, I can talk about this stuff all day, but you mentioned something earlier. I totally forgot that I was going to add this in. But with the subscriber number, so most of our views, I think we're sitting around 3.5 million views every 28 days, or 4 million views, something like that. But most of those views are coming from non-subscribers. And when I say most of them, it's normally like 6% to 9% for our channel of our views are coming from people who have subscribed. So this is where that subscriber number is not that important these days, because we've got all these other people who aren't subscribed. They may never subscribe, but we're still able to impact them with our content. We're still able to get their eyeballs on our content. So it is interesting when you look at where YouTube is taking this and how the priority of that subscriber thing is dropping off.
It's interesting. It feels like YouTube really should come up with another metric to serve creators that tells us something like, to the effect of, how many videos has someone seen of this channel before watching this video? Every time in the last probably 2 or 3 years, I've taken up some new hobby and really kind of fell down the rabbit hole on YouTube. I end up like watching, 20 or 30 videos of the same creator or the same channel without ever subscribing. But I don't think that creator has any idea that I'm that type of viewer. YouTube treats me the same way they would treat a first-time viewer or just any non-subscriber, right?
Yeah, it would be a really interesting metric, even if it was the average number of videos that someone watches of your channel before they hit that subscribe button. It's like, if I knew that someone needs to watch 5.3 of my videos, then that's so I need to make sure that I'm then showing up so someone has the ability to watch at least 5 or 6 of my videos, so they're more likely to subscribe. I think that would be really interesting.
Yeah, it's got to come eventually. Google is quite good at metrics and analytics, and at least their web analytics. So YouTube's just going to eventually catch up. Let's take a quick break, and then we'll get back on track with all of the questions that Kaylee prepared for us. Okay, and we're back. All right, Haley, sorry for taking us off track. I'll give it to you.
It's okay. I think I can forgive it. Okay. Okay, Justin. So you focus quite a bit on shooting video with the smartphone. At what point do you recommend video producers upgrade to a dedicated camera, or do they even need to at all?
So it comes down to workflow and what you've actually got access to. I think the smartphones are great because obviously there's something that we have access to. They're in our pockets. There's something that we're carrying around with us. And the best camera, as you say, is the one that you've got with you. But yeah, there are some obviously some limitations with that in that, like record times, battery life, actual sensor size, or the amount of light and color and everything that you can capture in your smartphones. So I think for anyone starting out, I don't want to see someone going and using this as a procrastination point to go and say, I'm not going to create videos until I get this amazing camera, because I know so many people that go and buy the camera and then have no idea how to use it and still don't make the video. So I'd much rather see people start creating videos with what they've got in their smartphone is more than good enough, and then upgrade when you start hitting those limits or you start to refine your workflow. So, I mean, the obvious thing is it just comes down to having a process, like putting your phone into flight mode so that you're not going to receive any calls and those sorts of things. All the things that could go wrong, how do you put something in place to stop it? And that's kind of the stuff that we create content around. But to answer your question, when should you upgrade? I think if you want the more control, if you want that blurry background look, you're not really going to get that on a smartphone. If you want the ability to use more professional level microphones and those sorts of things, and multiple microphones, yes, there are workarounds on the smartphone side, but it's just more complicated at that point, in which case it might be easier for you to look at a camera at that point. But I'd say for anyone, really go through the motions and start creating your videos first with the gear that you already have. If you have a camera, perfect. If not, I just want to remove your excuses and start you using your phone.
Seems like you can go a really long ways with a smartphone these days, right? Like it's something you couldn't say, I don't know, 5 years ago or so. But you know, there's so much gear you can plug into a smartphone now. If you do even want to do a dedicated microphone or whatever, the fundamentals still hold, right? Like just have good lighting and get good sound, and things are going to work out. So at least that's my experience.
Yeah, definitely.
So, you know, the work that you've done, you know, helping new businesses, I don't know how much feedback you get from your audience, but what would you say is like something that kind of most businesses tend to get wrong with video? What is a common mistake these folks are making?
I'd say the biggest thing that most people get wrong is that they get in their own way too much, and they're overthinking the process. Really, I mean, and as I said earlier, your worst videos, if you're okay with them being your first videos, are your worst videos. If you're okay with that and you're open to be growing and improving and not striving for the perfect video on your first attempt, then that's when you'll have success with this. If you're a perfectionist and you want the lighting to be perfect and you want the background to look amazing and you just want to sound amazing, and this is the first video that you have ever done, that's very, very hard. You're setting the bar way too high. And there's a lot of people that are comparing themselves to other people out there that are looking at, you know, Peter McKinnon's latest videos. You know, he's been doing it for a long time. He's also a filmmaker. So look at maybe some early videos from people's channels. And I mean, feel free to go and have a laugh at the early videos on our channel. The first few that I did, I thought I nailed at the time, and I didn't even blink once. And I'm like, okay, that's not that bad, but it's definitely cringeworthy. So again, I'm here to remove your excuses with this stuff. But the biggest thing is people getting in their own way. It's not about the tech. You've got enough with the phone. It's not about not knowing what to say, because you could do a little bit of research first and just plan out what you want to say. I have a general rule. I don't want to be thinking in front of camera. I want to know exactly what I want to say, so that and whether it's dot points or whether it's a full-on script, so that way I'm not filming for as long, which means I have less footage that I need to edit. So editing becomes easier. So the whole process actually becomes easier if you don't just quickly set everything up and press record and try to slap together a video. If you stop, pause, do a little bit of planning up front, it's going to actually make the whole downstream process much, much easier.
Okay, so bouncing off of that, what are some examples of businesses who are doing things right with video?
Okay, I said that there's a lot of examples of things that are doing things right, of businesses that are doing things right. As for specific examples, I'm going to struggle to pull some out. But what I like to see is the ones that are going through the motion, and a great way to get comfortable on camera, because that's the biggest thing we see people get stuck with. Even when you've got the gear and whatever, like you need to go through the motions of doing it. Go live. Live streaming is one of the quickest ways that you will get your confidence up, your skill level up, to be able to just talk. Again, if you've got that plan in front first, so that you up front first, so that you can know what you're going to say. But the people that go through those motions, and they're the ones that I like. They're the ones that are inspiring others to do it, because it's not perfect. They do make mistakes. And that's what people actually resonate with. It's real then. So that's the examples that I would say to look for. Look at the businesses that are doing it when it's not perfect. And the outcome is that the content is still good. You're building that relationship. You're deepening that relationship with that company or the members inside that company. That's the stuff that I would say to look for.
And would you say that certain businesses are more suited for using video to promote business, or it can just fit in with any type of business?
I really think it can fit in with any type of business, because again, you've got each business or each individual in the business has their own personality and their own spin on the content. Even if there's already other people out there that are making those pieces of content, there is no other exact same business or exact same personality inside of that business, even if there's two very similar businesses. So I definitely think there is an opportunity for anyone. And I think video is the tool to get your message out there and to build that brand awareness and that connection with your audience.
You know, sort of adding on to this idea of just sort of getting started, especially with live, there's actually a dynamic with live where people are a little bit more forgiving of mistakes when it's live. I don't know. They just understand that, oh crap, you can't go back and fix something, you know, you can't take out the ums and the uhs, you know, that kind of thing. So you could take advantage of that fact that, you know, expectations have been lowered a notch a little bit with live. But also I would say, in addition to that, you know, this moment that we're living through now with COVID is kind of doing the same thing globally across even recorded videos, right? You can watch Saturday Night Live, which is, I don't think, live anymore. You can watch the news or what have you, and everyone is doing stuff from home. And as a result, this sort of standard of production quality has dropped a little bit, and viewers' expectations have dropped a little bit. And so if you're going on with your first video, and it's not the most professional thing in the world, now is the time where you can kind of get away with that. You know, in the early days of YouTube, you could get away with that because that's just how it was back then, and everyone was an amateur. You know, last year, I guess kind of now, but more so last year, to compete, you know, you had to be pretty dang good, like to rank. Google was ranking not only videos with very good content, but also videos that looked and sounded great, because there's a lot to choose from. But now that we're in this mode where kind of standards have been lowered a little bit, it seems like this is a great opportunity for anyone to jump in, and viewers are going to be kind of okay if things aren't perfect.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's also a good opportunity for you, especially if you're listening and you are an absolute beginner and you haven't gone through these motions. Think of your live stream then, even if you're going to cover the same content, think of that as your test run, that you get to do it with maybe no one watching. Maybe you do have people on there and you can get their questions and validate that this topic is actually something that they want to hear about. So you get to actually do a practice run. Even if you pull down the live stream, then when you get to go and present it to camera, you've already done it. It's actually much easier for you to present something like if you read your script first and then go and produce it or present it, it's going to be much easier because your brain already knows what's coming next. You've gone through the motions of it. So doing a live stream or even testing it as an Instagram story or something like that first, and then you're going to be far more relaxed and get to that outcome that you want much quicker. But also you're able to validate your content. If someone might ask a really good question on your live stream, that you could then include that in the video. So that you're then creating a more value-packed piece of content, because anyone watching that had that same question is like, wow, you've even answered the biggest question that I had. Like, you're going to blow minds with that stuff. If you have that insight, then people are like, wow, this video did everything that I wanted. And whenever I had a question, they even answered that question. Like, that's the type of content that people will keep coming back for.
So I kind of have a question bouncing off our discussion about COVID and now being the time to start your channel or learn things. Do you feel like your channel has gotten more views since it's hit? Maybe people taking the time to learn how to edit videos or whatever it may be regarding video. How's your channel been impacted by it?
Yeah, I think it nearly more than doubled in the amount of traffic that we were getting. Just having people wanting or having time now to actually start this thing on the side or to start their YouTube channel. And the beauty of that is that we have a lot of very introduction to YouTube, introduction to videos on our channel, which then fueled the rest of them. So we have a video that I was pushing back about creating, how to make a YouTube channel. And I'm like, come on, I look at that and go, it's not that hard. You can click on the button and whatever, but it was a really high search volume term. And it took me a little while to kind of reframe this. It's like, look, if I can meet people where they're at and go really 101, like if they're searching for this, clearly there's something that they want someone to hold their hand through the process. So we made that video, and I think it is the fastest growing video that we've had. I think we released it in Feb, and it's over 2 million views. I think it's 2.4, 2.5 or something like that. Still, it's one of the top videos that we've had, the fastest growing videos we've had. But whether people subscribe again off the back of that video or not, they're going to be introduced to the type of content that we have on our channel. So it is the perfect lead in to all the rest of the content and all of our other methodologies and our processes and stuff for seeing success with video and implementing video strategy in your business. So, I mean, to me, to take that step back and go right back to 101 or something I struggled with, but all that really did was help so many more people come onto the platform and be introduced to our content.
So it's so great to hear that, actually, your views are climbing. That says that that despite the pandemic, actually now is as good a time as any to be in the video business, right? Outside of being a business that has to make video, producers generally, it's a good time to be a producer, even though there's going to be some pain right now. I know a lot of our readers, for example, have seen their production slowed. But certainly the demand for video production is going up. So I wanted to just sort of circle back on this idea that you mentioned previously, which is do a live video as kind of like the warm up, I guess, or the practice for a recorded video. There's this trick. I don't know if you've done this yourself, but whenever I have been directing someone in front of the camera who has not been in front of the camera before, one of the tricks I would always do is I'd put a piece of tape over the tally light and I'd just say, don't worry, we're not recording. Just go through it. Just practice run. No big deal. And that always is a great take because people have loosened up and, they're not nervous. It's just practice take, and oftentimes I would use those takes. And the live as practice for the recorded thing, I think maybe we'll do the same thing for some people where they'll do the live video as a practice run for a recorded video. Then after the fact, go back and go, actually, that was not too bad. And so it's a good way to get people comfortable with being on camera, and also maybe build their confidence in the process that they can do it. It's not as hard as they think.
Yeah, that little red tally light is something that it's if you're not used to it's distracting. It's bugging you, and it's like, all right, it's not normal for humans to sit in a room and just talk to a camera with no one else around. Like, it is a learning thing that you need to go through, and that's where another tip that we have, besides blocking out the light, is a great one. Is put a photo. If you're filming by yourselves and you're in your home office or something like that, put a photo of your ideal customer, client, or even a family member, depending on the type of content that you're talking about. This will sound ridiculous to a lot of people, but if you try this, if you're struggling presenting to camera, just put a photo right behind the camera, and then you look at the photo, you talk to the person, and it makes a huge difference because you're not then alone in the room. Well, you're alone with a photo, but you're able to talk to someone. And this is where, for businesses, if it is like your ideal client, your ideal customer, it can make a huge difference. And we've seen people really just turn it on for their cameras, like chalk and cheese examples, where all they've done is put the photo behind. It just helps people relax. And that's the key, is if you're in there and you're worried about how you look, the lighting, the sound, or my neighbor just turned on the leaf blower or whatever it is, that's all you're going to going to add to your anxiety and everything and put more pressure on you, because we all want that perfect video. But if you can get to the point where it's like, look, I am relaxed in this, and whatever happens. There's editing is there for a reason, right? If there's any mistakes, we can take those out. The pressure comes off. You relax more. And then you're able to deliver and just present as if someone was in the room. Because if it was just you talking to someone in the room, you're not going to be worried about the outside noise or the lighting or your hair or any of those sorts of things, because you're just having a conversation. So that's the point, is you need to be comfortable. So do what you need to do to be comfortable. Turn off the camera light is a great one. Photo behind is another great one. Reading through your script first, or even calling up someone and talking through the video, just to bounce it off someone before you go and present it. So again, you're going through that motion of talking about the topic with someone before you actually press record.
What you guys are saying about the photo just reminds me of sports right now with all the fake fans in the stands. And so when you said like the photo of someone in the background, I'm just thinking fans going, yeah.
And maybe that's the trick to getting, athletes to perform better, is the fake fans and video talent to perform better.
There's psychology behind it and everything, having like the noise and the fake pictures. But anyway, that's a whole nother thing. But I had to mention that because it's totally reminded me of it.
Definitely related.
One opposite of that, I think, I don't know this for sure, but I'm going to speculate. If having a photo behind the camera is makes people feel comfortable, or even having a human being behind the camera if they have another person that can help them, that's nice as well. Staring at the lens obviously is going to make people a little less comfortable. To me, the least comfortable way to do it is to look at yourself, like as you're doing it. If you're using the selfie mode on your camera, I don't know about you guys, but whenever I've done this, like if I'm trying to record a video for social or whatever, suddenly then you're like criticizing your own mannerisms, like, oh man, my eyes darted away right there. And you're sort of thinking about that partway through your delivery, and it's just a mess.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing that I still struggle with, is that as a video editor, I'm over editing myself when I'm presenting. I'm like, that's a bad one. I just go again. And so I have multiple takes of sentences and stuff constantly, and my editors hate me for it. And then people, up until recently, I wasn't sharing the behind the scenes of the creation process. And people are like, wow, I didn't realize how many mistakes you make. Like, yeah, this is normal. Editing is there for a reason. I do whatever I got to do to get that video out. And then we try to make it look good. So that's where, there's not many people that can just press record and just riff on a video and get it out. I'd say they're like the 1%ers of people. And yet that's the thing that everyone is striving to do. And they're comparing themselves to maybe someone that they've seen do that. If anything, I'd say the other way, you're able to create a far more effective video if you're not doing that. If you're intentional with what you're saying and not trying to do it off the top of your head, you can be very clear, very succinct, very precise with what it is you're saying. And the viewers will thank you for it, because there's less waffle. There's more content in a shorter period of time. It's direct, it's to the point. So I'm all for editing, and I'm all for removing, again, anyone's excuse around, I can't do that. Editing is there for a reason. And it's not as hard as most people think.
Yep, I agree. Okay, I think we're at time. I think that's it, right? I think so.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Okay, so I think maybe we'll call it there. So, Justin, thanks so much for giving us a few minutes today. It was great.
That was awesome. Thank you very much for having me on.
All right, everyone, thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time. Big thanks to Justin Brown for joining us. You can check out his YouTube channel at youtube.com/primalvideo, and you can check out his website at primalvideo.com. So for Haley LaPlante and everyone here at Videomaker, I'm Mike Wilhelm, and you've been listening to the Videomaker podcast. We'll catch you next time.